groovy people, back for another dose of Veg the Aging Hippie. The last video I apologize for because I was not in my right mind, and I'm trying to integrate the two sides of my personality into one. So on the one hand, I'm the cynical Vegematic, and on the other hand, I'm Chris, the aging hippie. So I can't deal with this much longer. My brain is just exploding all over things, and it's getting in the way of me living a normal life. You know what I'm saying? Of course, who has a normal life these days? I certainly don't. You don't. Nobody has a normal life anymore. What's normal? Normal is a concept that went out 50 years ago. And even then, it was kind of scary. And you had to be abnormal if you were going to survive that period of time. Now, I may have my own particular take on history, on politics, on art, on music, and you have your own. But the difference is, I know everything. And that's why I'm coming to you free of charge over the interweb. I've never made a penny. I've spent lots of money because it's a hobby that I can just sink my teeth into. You know what I mean? I feel like every time I get in front of this camera, my head explodes. I become a different person. I become a star, baby. I guess I've been conspicuous by my absence the last, a little over 2 weeks. And I needed to unplug from the Tubular universe for a number of reasons. Mostly so I could concentrate on losing my mind more efficiently, to be able to bring you a proper Vegematic, Veg the Aging Hippie, the Aging Hippies conspiracy. But you know what I'm saying. Fine tubular entertainment. Man, I've been talking. I always say talking, but I've been communicating on the interweb with other small creators, and there's this overwhelming sense of desperation, particularly among younger creators that have this dream of making a lot of money on YouTube, which, I guess in my day it was perhaps becoming a rock star or becoming a famous actor or comedian or something. But it's always been, and it will always be, a difficult task, none more so than at the present time. At the present time, the odds are stacked against anybody being creative, because creativity is punished in our society. It's punished on YouTube, it's punished everywhere, because we live in this time of mediocrity, of boredom, of all been done. I'm trying to find the correct words here, because for so many people, they live their lives chasing impossible dreams, and the entire culture, and we've been fed this through movies, and the entire culture is as a fake dream merchant and telling you to dream, and if you only dream, it'll come true. Well, as my dear departed mother used to say, you can dream in one hand and shit in the other, and see which gets full first. My mother was a very wise woman. Well, peace and love and grooviness won't really solve everything, but it can make our lives a little more pleasant. I want to thank my dear friend Kristen Rose for sending me the 4 Agreements. Great book, changing my opinions on life, and thank you, Kristen. I really do appreciate that. And anybody else that wants to send me gifts, hey, I'm open to it, man. Yeah, gifts, man. No, actually, I've gotten a few gifts over the years. I have the gift of laughter from my friends. I just want to say it's still all groovy, brothers and sisters. It's, that was the best thing that ever happened, was when people were groovy and strange, I remember trekking around the streets with, and you'd go into a record store and you'd hear Jim Morrison, people are strange, and you felt good about being strange. You could do what you wanted to do. You could wear a Victorian frock coat and weird little things, and you grew your hair long, and it scared people. Yeah, it was a long time ago. Do you ever contemplate just how large the universe actually is? The infinite. You can't count that high, right? The infinite number of stars and planets and all the space debris that we're leaving up there. It's pretty cool, right? Yeah, we're finished making a complete garbage dump out of the earth. Now we're going to start doing it above the earth. Let's export our garbage. Let's send it all to space. Yeah, you think I'm joking? That's what they're going to do to the moon. They're going to make it into a huge garbage dump. That's the stuff that's not still spinning around, and they have to dodge a layer of space crap to get to the moon. That's why they can't get to the moon. People got to the moon in 1969, and the reason they made it, there wasn't all this space crap floating around. They didn't have Elmo's star dink or anything. It just went up, and that was it. You got to the moon 50 years ago, more than 50 years ago. They spent all kinds of money and got to the moon. So here we are, and we're in 2024, and they can't send a robot to the moon. Something doesn't add up here, and I'll tell you what it is. It's the fact that everything analog works better than digital, and everything we use now is digital. But have you ever noticed how analog records sound compared to CDs, or worse, MP3s? I say no. No to digital. I am a Luddite. I prefer analog. Analog everything. Records, films. It was all better. It was all better quality. But it's not as cheap as digital. And digital is cheap. And that's why I'm not shooting on 16mm film, which would be really interesting but highly expensive. And I would like to do that one day, but that's like driving a racing car or being an astronaut. I always had these dreams of how fabulous my life would become. And it is fabulous in many ways. Yes, it's fabulous when you look at it from a point of view of fabulousness. Chris, you're like a little kid, okay? You run smiling down the street, pulling flowers up and throwing them in people's faces. Now, this is going to get you arrested if you keep this up. I'm just trying to help you out as a friend, Chris. It's something that you really should think about. Well, man, if I occasionally, have a psychedelic dementia happening, then I want to go out into the streets and give people flowers. I think it would be better than giving them the finger, which is the modern peace symbol these days is this, right? Yeah, okay, that's what we need more of. Sure. I say you're an idiot, and I say you are a fool. Okay, you started this YouTube thing, how many years ago? It was veg, it was always veg. Well, initially it was called Zlotys, but then it was veg. And now you've gone and messed with the channel, it was veg, and then we went through a phase there where I changed it to Vegematic Deluxe, and then back to Vegematic, and then to Veg, and it still wasn't getting any traction. So what did I do? I got far out and groovy. And what did you do, Veg? Well, yes, you were out there complaining, doom scrolling, pointing out that we're all doomed to a fiery planet burning out of control while it's being flooded at the same time. Seriously though, do you ever have a conversation with yourself? I mean, we do it all the time, and the chatter going on in our head is constant. It's just, you don't have to listen to it. You can turn it off and just go around saying Om, and everything's gonna be groovy, man. Your life will be cool. That's all there is to it, you know. When you're confined in some way, whether through a disability, either mental or physical, it can grate. It can get, each day can become more and more of a drain. So you have to do some things to reach out to other people and gain strength from other people that think somewhat the same as you. It's very difficult to find people like that, but you do, and they are out there. Everything's being done for us these days. If you're an artist, well, you're probably one of the least important people according to society. Or if you're a creative in any way, then it's just like, well, yeah, sure. Because some people are creatives and artists, and that they make art, quotation marks, because it boosts their ego. They will never make great art. Some people make art because it's who they are and they have no choice. That's what they were born to do. And we live in such a topsy-turvy culture right now where everything is about being famous or being rich. And yet the situation is growing more and more desperate all around us. And many people bury their heads in the sand and ignore it, and I admire people that can do that, but I can't look at all the craziness going on, all the insanity of the human race right now, and the complete denial of the horrible times we're living in. It's very hard to live a normal life in abnormal times. And what do we spend our lives chasing after all? It's all an illusion. Those things you seem to own aren't really yours. They never were, and they never will be, because we're here for a short time. And you can surround yourself with luxury, but you can't get away from entropy. And if you're ignoring all the things that are important in life to focus on the crap, then what's the point in living? What's the point in, if you're not learning something, if you're not growing as a human and growing in a sense of compassion for other humans, for animals, then what's the point? I've often felt that life is just like a place where you go to school before you graduate when you die, and we're here to learn compassion, and we're here to learn to trust and love each other. I can't for the life of me figure out evil people whose hearts have been so hardened that they can drop 2,000-pound bombs on children, that they can ruin lives and cause so much suffering. And I've often thought that when you die, I believe this, you get to experience all the pain that you have caused others in your life. So for somebody like a Stalin or a Hitler, then they would have to experience all that pain. That's hell. That's my thoughts on hell. But to take the limited time that we have here on this planet and not use your ability to try and make things a little better is a waste of your life. I don't care if you live in the largest mansion in town it's still a wasted life if you spend it acquiring stuff that's not going to be there. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Thus it has ever been. So, are you cheered up yet? Thanks for dropping by. Peace, love, understanding. There's got to be a place for that.